Hello and welcome to That Booty. My name is Patricia and I am happy to be offering a restorative and yin practice for you today. We'll be doing this practice using our bolster. So if you have a bolster at home, we'll be using a cylinder bolster. But if you don't have one, you could always use a cushion or roll up a blanket like so, and this could be your bolster. To begin this class, I'll invite you to start by lying on your back. We'll put the bolster, or place the bolster so that it lines up with the bottom of our rib cage here. So making sure it meets with the bottom of the rib cage. You can allow yourself to just fall over that bolster, splaying the arms out either in a cactus or straight out if you have the space. And you're going to bring your knees up, tucking the tailbone under so that the sits bones are engaged with the earth, and bringing the feet out about as wide as the mat. You'll drop the knees in and just allow yourself to begin to relax here. Opening that heart. Maybe closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Unclenching the jaw. Relaxing that space between the brows. Broadening the temples. Imagine all your worries, all the thoughts that have built up to this point, pouring out the top of your head into the earth. As you open your heart to the supportive energy surrounding you and the endless possibility of the now. Taking a deep inhale here. And exhaling, releasing everything that you brought with you to the mat. Inhaling. And exhaling, One more deep inhale here. And exhaling, Taking this moment to dedicate your practice, if you wish, using an I am affirmation. I am healed. I am whole. I am supported. Whatever you came to the mat for today, draw it in with your I am affirmation, either out loud or in your mind. Knowing that if at any point during this practice your thoughts begin to wander, you can always regroup and recenter by bringing the attention to the breath or calling to mind your affirmation of choice. Falling into the natural breath here. Allowing the body to melt over the bolster. Noticing what your body is trying to communicate to you through sensations. And without judgment, acknowledging these messages and releasing them for the time being. As you sink into this supportive pose. Inhaling and exhaling. Allowing yourself to open up. While simultaneously letting go. Knowing that you are supported. In all that you do. And all that you are. A couple more breaths here as we sink more deeply. Into this restorative heart opener. Breathing here. Maybe turning the head left and right slowly as we prepare to transition out of this pose. Slowly falling over to one side, using the hand to pick you up. And getting into a seated pose here. You can just relax as I change this track. Here we are. So just seated for a moment here. Take inventory. Maybe wiggle the shoulders. Whatever your body may need in this moment as we prepare to segue into a supported child's pose. So we're going to get on our hands and knees, making sure that the wrists are under the shoulders and the knees are under the hips. We're going to do a couple of rounds of cat-cow first before going into child's pose. So inhaling, dropping the belly and bringing the gaze to the ceiling. Exhaling the navel into the spine, chin to chest, and tucking the tailbone underneath. Inhaling, looking up, broadening the collarbone, dropping the belly, and exhaling, bringing the navel to the spine, chin to chest, angry cat. One more, inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And we're going to bring the knees out just as wide as the mat, allowing the toes to touch. Taking our bolster or a blanket, whatever you're using here, and setting it up so that you can bring your third eye, the point between your brows, to the bolster. You can either keep your arms bent, bring them back, or for a bit of a shoulder stretch, you can bring them over the bolster, either keeping the hands engaged for now or allowing them to fall gently. Breathing here, directing energy through your tailbone towards the back of the mat. With each inhale, imagining space between each vertebrae. And with each exhale, imagining the broadening of the muscles in your lower back as you sink more deeply into this child's pose. If this pose is not completely comfortable for you here, you could use a block or a pillow under the bum to support you. Taking deep inhales and slow, soft exhales. Really finding the length in this pose. Activating that third eye chakra by making contact with the bolster. If this feels really good for you, and your arms are on the bolster, if you want a bit more of a shoulder stretch, I invite you to touch your palms together in prayer pose and bring your hands to the back of your head as you allow your chest to relax towards the ground. This is just a slight modification if you want to open the chest and the shoulders. Or feel free to stay wherever you are. Finding stillness in this pose. And falling into the natural rhythm of the breath. Calling to mind your I am affirmation. And then letting go entirely. wherever you are, you can bring the arms out in front of you and walk them in. Maybe taking a moment here to shimmy the shoulders. And you can readjust the bolster. I know mine gets a little bit flat after I've done something. And the next pose we're going to do, we're going to go on our back and do a supported bridge pose. And that means we're going to want the bolster to engage with our sits bones and not our lower back, which is very important. We want the bolster right where the tailbone muscle is. We don't want it higher because we can hyperextend the muscles there and hurt ourselves, which is a big no-no. So we can start by bringing our legs out in front of us and trying to find the sits bones. Before we lean back. Bring the heels underneath the knees and the feet hips width apart. Finding that sweet spot with the sits bones. You can cactus the arms or spread them out like a capital T. Whatever works for you. You might even, if you have the space and you just want to have the arms by your side, palms facing up. This is your bridge. It's a counter pose to the child's pose we just had, where we just worked on broadening and loosening the lower back muscles. Here we support those muscles. Allowing our shoulders to broaden and sink in to the ground. Breathing here. Falling into stillness. Checking in, perhaps unclenching the jaw once more, relaxing the muscles in the face, finding length in the neck as the back of your head makes contact with the mat. And releasing. Letting go of anything you carried with you onto the mat today. No matter how insistent certain thoughts may be, acknowledging them as they come and letting them go as you take this time for yourself. To nourish yourself. To honor yourself. to heal yourself. I am healed. I am nourished. I am loved. From here, we're going to get a little bit of inversion action going, and it will likely be the most active pose of this practice. And it's a supported legs up the wall. So you can either from here just bring your legs up straight. We want to make sure that the feet are engaged with the heels pushing up, so my camera frame doesn't quite get it all, but like this, but straight, pushing the heels up towards the sky. And if this is a bit much, you can actually go to a wall if you have it available and just bring your feet up like that. But I do encourage this supported version if you can. Breathing here. We're getting the blood flowing in a different direction, which is really, really good for our system. Taking deep inhales and exhales as we really remain mindful of how engaged our legs are. Even though this is a yin practice, there will be moments that can prove challenging. We are taught to keep on moving, that if we aren't constantly going from one thing to another, we're not doing enough. But notice in this stillness how much you're actually doing. Notice how non-movement doesn't mean non-action. Even in your sleep, your body is working. To reset, to repair. By taking this moment of stillness for yourself, you're consciously doing so much for you. In this moment of stillness, you are choosing growth. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, ah. Inhale here. Exhale, ah. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, keeping those feet engaged. Seeing if you could hug those knees in using the support of the bolster to really round out that spine. If you want an additional stretch in the spine, you can bring the head towards the knees and just really cocoon yourself. From here, lift your legs up once more and slowly, with your arms by your side, see if you can, with control, bring the feet to the mat. Beautiful. Taking a moment to see how this feels. Slowly bending the knees, turning over to the side briefly, and then bringing yourself to lie on your belly, and we're going to put the bolster right under the hips. And this is a restorative downward facing dog, and it doesn't look like much, but it does quite a lot. So making sure that the feet are pointed and putting the flats of the top of the foot onto the mat. You can extend your arms out in front of you and bring your third eye down to the mat as you relax into this pose. Breathing here. And taking up as much space as you like. Maybe playing with it if you notice any resistance, if you perhaps need to make the legs wider, or the arms. Don't be afraid to take up space if that's what resonates for you in this moment. Remaining mindful of the breath, while releasing the chatter of the monkey mind that always seems to have something to say. Respectfully dismissing that chatter when it arises. And embracing the stillness of this moment. Noticing if perhaps you're holding some tension in your shoulders here. Perhaps in the low back or the sides. Letting the legs fall heavy. Just relaxing here. Breathing here. Knowing that you are safe and you are supported. That whatever is going on off of the mat will still be there for you once you've concluded this practice. And it's okay to let it go. Whenever you need to, it's okay to let go. Wherever you are, whenever you're ready, lifting the head up gently, bringing the elbows under the shoulders and bringing those feet together, pushing the collarbones forward for just a mini back bend here as we prepare to walk our hands back, going into a tabletop. And let's do another round of cat-cows here. Inhaling up for cow, and exhaling angry cat. Inhaling up for cow, and exhaling angry cat. Let's come back to neutral here, and I invite you to do some hip circles. So whatever resonates with you, whatever your body needs. If you want to do half circles, if you want to come forward, if you need to move your bolster for a moment, that's fine. But let it snap, crackle, and pop if it has to. Just get a little bit of movement in those hips, in that body. Beautiful. And when you're ready, we're going to swing the legs around so that they're in front of you. And we're going to line the bolster up so that it's straight ahead. You're going to open your legs up wide. I've got a limited space here, so this is as wide as it's going to be for now. And just make the micro adjustments you need to make to get yourself comfortable, making sure that your sits bones are engaged with the ground. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold over the bolster. You may want to use a block at first as well, if you have that, or fold some cloth if your head cannot reach the bolster. But as you breathe, you'll find yourself softening more deeply into the pose, and wherever you are, feel free to adjust. But try to enjoy the stillness of the pose. So we're going to inhale together, arms up. And exhale with a flat back, start to fold. And then allow it to round as you come forward into the supported forward fold. And here I'm going to use my block on top of my bolster and hug my bolster as I breathe into this supported, restorative, wide-legged forward fold. And know that wherever you're at today is completely okay. Yoga is not about how the posture looks, but it's about reaping the benefits of the posture. So if you can enjoy the supported forward fold, no matter where it is, know that that's your yoga today. Know that it's healing and enriching your life. And that's what matters. Taking the time to do something for you. Taking an inhale here and lengthening the spine, perhaps looking up. And exhaling, folding over again, seeing if you're in the same spot you were, or if maybe you could inch forward. Breathing here. Again, focusing on stillness, but noticing as you fall more deeply into the pose, whether you can make an adjustment so that you can remain at that edge. Keeping in mind ahimsa, non-harming, not pushing the body beyond its limits. But expanding the limit itself by working through discomfort. Taking a deep inhale and exhaling Deep inhale. Exhaling Deep inhale here. Exhale Feel free to exhale to release any tension, or breathe softly. We have a few more breaths left in this pose. Allow yourself to melt into that edge. When you're ready, extending the arms forward and coming up onto the fingertips and slowly walking them towards your torso, lifting up vertebrae by vertebrae, letting the head be the last thing to come up. Rolling the shoulders up and then down and back. Maybe taking a moment to wiggle here. You can shake the legs out here if needed. And we're going to do a quick yin pigeon pose. So you can roll that bolster out again, make it nice and even. And swing those legs behind you, coming into a tabletop. We're going to start with our right leg. You'll bring the right leg over the bolster. You want, ideally, the shin to be parallel to the front of the mat with the foot flexed. And we're going to bring the bolster so that it's under the pelvis. Squaring the hips, extend the left leg back and drop the top of the foot to the ground. And bring this over here. Now, you can stay up or you can come down onto your forearms, whatever is comfortable for you. If this is not comfortable, feel free to add a blanket underneath or on top of the bolster if you need more space. But just focus here on squaring the hips and looking straight ahead. If you do come forward, I invite you to use a block to place your third eye. And just allow yourself to relax into this yin pigeon pose. I invite you at any point during this pose to take a deep inhale and exhale. Pigeon pose targets muscles that hold a lot of emotional energy. It's okay if you begin to feel distracted, or if certain emotions arise seemingly out of nowhere. If this is your current experience, I invite you to use your breath as a tool for release. Lengthening the spine. Unwinding the muscles in that outer right hip. And breathing. Remembering ahimsa, non-harming, knowing that you are not pushing yourself beyond any limit, but simply meeting yourself at your edge. remembering the breath. Perhaps bringing to mind your I am affirmation from the beginning of the class. As we take a deep inhale, exhale, ah. Inhaling here, exhaling, ah. Inhaling one more time, filling the lungs. And exhaling, ah. Starting to walk the hands back up towards the body. And bring that knee back around using your hand as support if needed. Maybe sitting back on the heels, doing a few hip circles here, just to loosen those hips back up. And once you stabilize in tabletop, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So bringing now the left leg up, you're going to walk that left foot over to the right side of the mat, dropping it down, and trying to square off those hips here as best as you can, using the bolster as support. Inching that right leg back now. Finding your pigeon. Beautiful. Keeping in mind that one side might feel tighter than the other, might be a completely different sensation, so keep that in mind without judgment, knowing that this side may be a little bit different. And if it's in your practice, you can begin to fold forward, perhaps using the block to rest your third eye. And breathe here, knowing that you can inhale deeply and exhale, ah, if it's beneficial to your practice. Lengthening the spine, relaxing those hips as best you can as you breathe through whatever sensations are arising. Taking deep inhales and exhaling, ah. Breathing. Knowing that you are centered, that you are aligned, that you are always in a state of being and of becoming. As you align with your highest self, letting go of judgments, of doubts and of fears, and embracing the now and the gifts that it's presenting to you. Inhaling deeply Exhaling, ah. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling, ah. Inhaling, ah. 2 more. Inhaling. And when you're ready, coming up onto your hands as you walk yourself in, rolling off of the bolster. And pumping it up as we prepare to end our session with a seated meditation. I'm going to put my bolster at my sits bones here so that I can bring my knees below my hips. I invite you to place your hands down on your knees for grounding or up for receiving. As you flutter your eyes closed or soften your gaze, knowing that the time you have taken to dedicate to your practice is sacred, and that stillness can bring with it tremendous growth. Honoring the energy that called you to the mat today and thanking it. Thanking yourself and basking in the wholeness of this moment. Bringing your hands to heart center, I invite you to seal this practice with an Om, or simply enjoy the vibration. Taking a deep inhale. Om Shanti. Peace to you. Namaste. Until next time, thank you.